McQuistion for over 28 years, talking about things that matter with people who care. Production of McQuistion is made possible in part by individual viewers, supporters of the Foundation for Responsible Television, the Hatton W. Sumner's Foundation, helping to educate the public about the fundamental principles of their democracy and thus be in a position to help formulate public policy. Moss Adams LLP, certified public accountants and consultants, providing industry-smart tax, assurance, and consulting solutions to help businesses and their owners succeed since 1913. The University of Texas at Dallas, creating the future.
You know, by now it's almost a daily occurrence to read of someone hacking into a business's database or even into the government's own files, not to mention the allegation of Russia's hacking the presidential election of 2016. Now, I don't know about you, but I sometimes have days when I wish we could go back to a simpler time when not everything was done on a computer, in a cloud, or on the internet. Alas, it's not going to happen. So let's figure out just what the situation is with cybersecurity and how we protect ourselves from crime and war. So here are the experts. Starting on my right, Murat Kantarjo is a professor of computer science at the University of Texas at Dallas, and he's a visiting scholar at Harvard's Data Privacy Lab. His research focuses on data security and privacy. Murat, welcome back to the program.
Thanks.
Sitting next to you is Israel Martinez. He's CEO of Axon Global and chair of the Global Manufacturing Information Sharing and Analysis Organization. He's an expert in cybersecurity and is certified by the Department of Homeland Security in Cyber Counterterrorism and Defense. Israel, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
And sitting next to you is James Myers. He's a senior business security advisor, a certified chief information security officer, and a certified information systems security professional. I don't know, but all of you guys are certifiable as far as I can tell. I tell you, this program is going to be amazing. So James, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So Israel, let me start with you. I mean, I have to tell you, I can't pick up a Wall Street Journal without seeing this problem. Seems like it's every day. Tell us where do you think our businesses are and where our government is in terms of protecting ourselves in this whole area of cybersecurity?
So our team has spent quite a bit of time with Fortune 500 board members in enterprise risk management. Recently, I've been helping the 100-day presidential transition team, and then after that as an advisor. And the problem is worse than we thought. So Forbes reported in 2016, for example, that cybersecurity spend was about $70 billion and theft was about $400 billion. If you look at just ransomware alone, in 2015, it was about $200 million of crime. And in 2016, it ballooned to over $1 billion. We expect 2017 to be worse. So clearly the trend is off. The good news is we now know more about why, and it relates to a core infrastructure issue.
And when you say a core infrastructure issue, what is that core infrastructure issue?
Yeah, so we being a collective of CIOs in the United States and CTOs and CISOs are prepared to now state unequivocally that cybersecurity in the current internet DNS infrastructure is not sustainable. So we cannot spend enough, you cannot regulate enough. And if you don't have what we call a lift and shift strategy from the core DNS infrastructure in the next 3 to 5 years, then you'll be one of the businesses that will be a has-been, because the onslaught of sophistication due to innovation, due to the amount of espionage is already happening and not known by most companies or people, is overwhelming. So we start with a premise, and that is we're no longer in a cyber crime scenario. We're in a cyber warfare scenario where the world is using very sophisticated tools to first conduct the espionage and then conduct some very sophisticated and sometimes very simple crime. Most breaches today occur because they have stolen valid credentials. So when a bad guy has valid credentials, how do you detect that, right? It's a very difficult thing to do. And most of that is because we no longer own the domain name infrastructure in the internet. The United States used to own that, govern it, and secure it. And that was given away in 2016. And we have seen even .mil servers that are moved, should be on a secure DNS server, are moved to a non-secure area for bandwidth or other reasons and never moved back again. And so that problem will continue.
That was an amazing thing. Some of us watched that during that time, and then it just sort of went away. This issue, is it ICANN? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, so the government gave away the rights to the global public community. It's governed by a nonprofit organization, ICANN and IANA. And so if you think about your home and you have a title to your home, and there's a governing process around the title being free and clear and the right people owning it. So when you have a domain name or an IP address, ICANN and IANA are the ones who validate that. The U.S. government no longer controls that process in terms of credentialing. And so we're seeing unintended consequences in terms of how that's being mismanaged.
Yeah, I want to tell you that what you've done to several people who are watching this program right now, they have either already gone or about to go get themselves an adult beverage just because of what you've said already.
Right.
So thank you so much for bringing this kind of sunshine to this program. Now, James, tell us something positive about this, would you?
I'd like to pile on to what Israel was saying here. The fact is, it's people, process, and technology. One of the reasons why it's $400 billion versus a $70 billion differential is because we spent significant monies on technology, not looking at businesses in general, not looking at the people and the process areas in businesses. The majority, which is about 53% or higher of hacks, successful hacks, inside businesses today start with people, whether ill-intended, misguided, or just by pure accident because unknowing, you know. So in a prioritization, if you were to walk in and do an assessment, most people say, well, can you do a pen test? Can you come and look at my technology and my segments and my IP addresses and open servers and whatnot? Well, that's just one piece of the triangle. It's people first, process, and then technology. Think of it that way for businesses. And to me, that's a prioritization. The people have got to be knowledgeable. You've got to have knowledgeable people around you. And you mentioned earlier about shareholders. I'd like to extend that out to all stakeholders. When I say people, I'm talking about your vendor community, the people who take care of your bathrooms at night, who get into your building and get access, okay? People who are all contractors, your board members, your executive team, your sysadmins that manage DNS environments. Everybody is really a stakeholder to your business. And so it's really about a people learning process, and we're behind the curve on that. We really are.
Well, you sent me a graphic, which I'm going to put up here, graphic 8, and I'll read to the viewers, because this is pretty scary in itself. The chief information security officers average 17 months in each position.
Right.
The more people leave technology than any other industry. 17% of men and 42% of women end up leaving engineering. Reasons people leave: they don't understand their role, lack of advancement opportunity, and unhappy with the leadership of the company culture, or just because they watch this program. Those are the 4 reasons why people leave, James.
Well, that is true. In CISO land, CISO, CSO, CRO land, it's not good. And it's a revolving door of personnel, which has created in itself in the business community a vulnerability on top of the technology issues of which you've already got. So now you've got knowledge base walking out the door, going to other opportunities. One of the reasons is because they're overworked, they're getting burned out, and they're leaving the industry. So people are actually leaving the industry in certain areas more than coming into it. So there's a huge demand. There's supply and demand. The supply side of personnel coming in is low with respect to the demand. There's at least 250,000 unfilled jobs in the United States and 1.2 million worldwide that are unfilled. You can't fill them from executive level down to administration.
Well, here's the good news. At the University of Texas at Dallas, right, Murat? We are filling those jobs, isn't that right?
Exactly. At least trying to, I guess.
All right.
Our department, computer science, now is 1/8 of the campus. There is so much demand in computer science.
1/8 of the campus?
Yeah, almost.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like 12% or 13% of the campus is computer science now. Clearly, there's lots of demand.